Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I am rising in opposition to this amendment, which is, as the gentleman has described, a simple training requirement to ensure that this act is implemented correctly. Seems like a perfectly reasonable thing in and of itself, but that would be if the actual underlying bill that it seeks to modify was reasonable and not some sort of bizarre Orwellian doublespeak designed to mislead the American people about what this bill is actually about. Nothing about this bill is reasonable. Nothing about this bill, the process about how it has been brought to the floor and how it has misled the people of our country about what is happening is normal, and it does not secure the freedom of speech or any other freedoms of the American people. It actually endangers them. In fact, it imperils our democracy by handcuffing the ability of law enforcement, national security, and intelligence officials to provide factual, critical information to social media companies and the public in order to prevent crimes or to ensure that we have election fraud tampering does not occur and that there is not foreign interference with our elections. This is not some unintended consequence of the bill, but rather is the entire point of this bill, as my Republican colleagues have conceded. When we marked up this bill in the Oversight Committee, Chairman Comer produced 2 emails from a single FBI agent to Twitter that he said were, quote, the purpose of the bill. But you might be asking, what terrible censorship was the FBI trying to achieve in those emails? Well, in fact, when Democrats were finally provided with the email content, it was an email to Twitter from the FBI identifying election fraudulent tweets. In fact, the content identified that there were multiple tweets that were misleading about the time, place, or manner of voting in the upcoming election. This is the smoking gun that they are claiming is taking away our freedoms. That's right, election misinformation that was meant to deceive American voters, which the FBI flagged as a part of their actual course of business. And now they would like to hamper the ability of our FBI and our law enforcement to be able to do their jobs. This is, of course, by the same party who's engaged in voter suppression for countless decades, so we probably shouldn't be surprised. And we know that the American people not only want us to protect their voting rights and their basic rights to express themselves, to their freedoms as protected by the Bill of Rights and our Constitution, we want our public servants to be able to do their jobs and to do their jobs with integrity and ensure the integrity of our election system. Democrats sought to try to address some of the grave flaws in this bill and address the supposed intent of the bill by submitting 43 separate amendments for floor consideration. And, in fact, only 1 was made in order. Republicans, on the other hand, submitted only 20 amendments, many, like this one, ignoring the dangers of the underlying bill and not wanting to improve it to protect American freedoms, but just simply tinker around the edges to make it more enforceable. So my question is, why are we voting on this amendment and not Congressman Torres's amendment to ensure the bill does not prohibit federal officials from preventing and addressing cyber attacks? Why are we not voting on this amendment? Why are we voting on this amendment and not Congressman Lynch's amendment to ensure the bill does not prohibit federal officials from protecting our national security? And why are we voting on this amendment and not Congressman Goldman's amendment to ensure that the bill does not prohibit federal officials from fighting foreign election interference as occurred in the 2016 election? I urge my colleagues to oppose this amendment and oppose this bill. It does nothing to improve a deeply dangerous bill, and I reserve the balance of my time.
Gentlelady reserves. Gentleman from Tennessee.
Mr. Chair, I have no further speakers, and I am prepared to close. I reserve the balance of my time.
Okay. Gentlelady from New Mexico.
Reserve.